Alrighty, YouTube. As you can tell, my voice is all messed up, so deal with it. Alright, we're going to do a wheel bearing. This is the new one. They call it a wheel bearing assembly. It's got your sensor on there and the whole kit and caboodle, so you don't have to worry about pressing in and pressing out the bearing. Couple of quick tips. Use this. Throw it up and around here real quick while you're farting around with taking off the brake caliper and all. Then what you're going to do is you're going to put 2 bolts in here. Take your wrench. Slowly do one side till you feel resistance. The other side, go back and forth. You'll walk this right out. Before you do that, you'll turn this around. This little plug will be in here. Pop that out. You will take a regular screwdriver that you could fit in this hole. You'll put it in there. Inside, you'll actually see a star. You're going to back off the star until you can get this off completely, or else it'll get stuck. And if you're asking yourself which way you spin this, you go one way. If you can't turn this anymore, you went the wrong way. Turn it the other way. It's only a couple of turns. So, you got a couple of bolts back here you have to take off. 14mm. Take those off. This will come off, the whole assembly, caliper and the bracket. Once you back out that adjuster for your parking brake, go back and forth. This will actually pop off. And there you have it. What you're going to do now is, this is the star that I was talking about. You'll see this inside that hole. And then what you're going to do is you're going to, obviously back off, which will back these shoes off. And you'll get the drum off / rotor. Okay, now what you'll do is you will have another 14mm, 4 bolts, and then you're gonna see them through this hole and this hole. You'll be actually looking at this here through the 2 holes. Hang on a second until I get this off. I'm going to switch this around. This is the way I did it. If you could figure out an easier way, go for it. 3/8 drive, regular shallow socket extension. You're going to put it through here. You're on the bolt. And then you're going to crank them off, all 4 of them. So I'm going to pause the video, I'll crank these off, and then I'll show you where you're at. We're back. Got all 4 bolts zipped out there. They're still in there. You do not need to take off the parking brake pads, springs, or adjuster. Just kind of, when you put your socket in here, just kind of shove the brake pads to the side, and you'll be fine. Use a brass hammer or a regular hammer and give it a whack, and there you go. That's your sensor connector down there. You're going to disconnect that, and then this will drop down. Let me do that, and I'll get right back to you. Then we got it out, and that's what it looks like now, because I smashed it with a hammer. Doesn't matter, we're putting a brand new one in. So basically what you're going to do is, I used a ball peen hammer, decent size one. Don't ask me to wait, I have no freaking clue. I held the backing plate like such. Just hold it off to the side and give it a good whack, dead center of this right here, right there. before you give it a good whack, just break this off with the hammer and then give it a really good shot right here. This one came out in one hit. The other side came out in like about 5-6 hits. So sometimes you just gotta keep whacking at it. It'll pop right out. And if you're wondering, yes, these are passenger side, driver side. Don't get them mixed up. You can't. You know why? Because when you put them in, it's not going to work. The sensor is going to be on the wrong side. So this one is for passenger side. How can you tell? Because all the bolts line up just like that. And the sensor goes through the hole. If you go the wrong way and you flip this upside down, bolts will not match up and the sensor will not go through the hole. Simple as that. Kind of stupid proof, isn't it cool? Okay. As you can tell, I didn't take anything off of the brake assembly for the parking brake. And in here, just in case you forget, it actually has the pattern. So I'm going to drop that into this hole and put it together. Alright guys, we're all back together. So basically, what I do is when I put these back together, I'll do corner to corner. So I'll do this corner a little bit, I'll come down here, do this corner, come up here, do this corner, and the same thing, I'll come down here until you get to a point where you're really wrenching down. Then you can do, you know, just do your corners until you get them super tight. Obviously, if you're using a 3/8 drive, just try to get an extended one. That's an extended one. Normal ones come to about here. So if you don't, see if you can get a reducer, go to half from the 3/8 to ½ inch, so you have a decent leverage on there. Just crank them down. You don't want these falling off, or obviously your whole tire, rim, and everything will just fall right off. So from here, what I recommend, because anytime you're messing around with your brakes, the rotors, or whatever, get yourself some brake cleaner and just spray down the whole areas. Get it, get rid of all this dust and everything in here. And then once you get this back on the car, then you could do the outer side, because while you're holding it, more than likely when you're holding it, you're going to be touching this side. So do yourself a favor, just clean this up with a, with this, wipe it down with a rag, put it back on, spray the outside, and then put your brake caliper and the assembly back on. So I'm going to do that, and I'll come right YouTube back. Last step, we're all done. 2 bolts are back in behind here, tightened. Make sure you tighten it decently. That is your brakes, of course. You don't want it falling off. Down in here, what I do is I tighten it all the way till I can't turn this. Then I start backing off till it freely rolls. What you're hearing there is actually these brake pads here. But as long as it freely rolls, you're good, okay? You don't want it tight, because you're just going to create drag. You're going to wear your parking brake out, and that's about all you're going to do. When you do put your rotor / drum on here, onto the spindle, you're going to have to make note. These 2 holes, there are 2 holes, but only one of them lines up with this adjuster hole here. So make sure you get the right hole in place, because the other one, I believe, is right over here. It doesn't line up with this. So just make sure you do that. So at this point, you're pretty much done. Throw the tire on and do your start pattern to put the tire on. Now do yourself a favor. That is not what you use to tighten these lug nuts. For some reason, everybody thinks those have enough power to tighten those. If you could get 80 to 100 pounds out of that, yeah, I'd like to see that. That's great. I see more people's tires fly off on the highway or sitting on the side of the road, and I have a mechanic over here that everybody knows that's notorious for using one of those. Everybody loses their tires. Everybody. So do yourself a favor. It takes 2 seconds longer. Either use an air gun or use that then use a torque wrench or a breaker bar and just tighten the shit out of them. Because when you're doing 90 down the highway and you lose a tire, it is not fun. Alright guys, so this is the end of this wheel bearing replacement. Hope you learned something. If you have any questions, comments, let me know. Subscribe. Take care.